Hey, so I really want to talk about something today that I feel like a lot of people are going through. I've seen so many empaths talking about how they feel lost or like their sacred service or their purpose for being here has shifted so much that they're not really sure what to do with it. And I have definitely gone through that over the last couple of years because, when I started teaching about the moon, there were only a couple of us really talking about it. There weren't very many people talking about openly being a witch or, I used to get emails a lot at first from people who were calling me like a devil worshiper and saying that, God was going to like judge me or I was going to go to hell for talking about the moon. And now that seems so silly because it's like everyone knows that the moon cycles are just a part of nature and a part of us, right? It doesn't have anything to do with the devil. I mean, so a lot of things have changed. The world has changed. And I feel like the work that I've done over the last, 4 or 5 years with the moon has really shifted awareness in the world. And I feel like what I set out to do happened. Like, I feel like I manifested what I wanted to do with my teaching. And so now, over the last, 2 years, I feel like my guides have been giving me a new mission. And this new mission is to really help empaths who I've awakened through all of these moon trainings and helping people get more in touch with their own cycles and that with nature as well, and being able to sync up with the moon cycles and the phases and be able to harness that energy and use it as an empath. That's really been a really important lesson for people. And it's also become very trendy, and it's also woken up very many empaths that have been sleeping. So the moon was a really great tool. But now it's time to take that a little bit deeper and go into, helping empaths that are wounded and healers that have worked themselves so hard, being of service into the world, that they've become unbalanced energetically, and they're manifesting things like chronic illnesses and anxiety and all of these really intense physical manifestations of being an empath and becoming toxic energetically. And so I've been given this information over the last couple of years for myself because that's what I went through. 10 years ago, I had to give up my dream job that I worked so hard. Like, literally, guys, I didn't spend enough time with my children when they were little because I was in school, because I felt so called to do this, that I was always learning more and, going to trainings and traveling and trying to get as much education as I could so that I could serve in the best way that I possibly could. That's how driven I feel, and that's how strong I felt about my education and, learning as much as I could, doing apprenticeships where I lived off the grid and had to live in the most disgusting places. I've lived outside. I've done so many things in my life where I've given up my comfort to be able to learn how to help other people to raise their vibration and to heal, so that, because I know underneath everything that's my mission, is to raise the vibration of the planet. And so, the ways that I go about doing this have shifted because obviously I need to have, they're successful and I need to move on to the next thing. So I know that there's people out there that are feeling the same way, different healers. And I think when we ignore it, that we need to change our path and change into this new, different trailblazing thing in the world, it's scary and we don't want to do it. And so we hold on to these old familiar teachings that we have, that we know, that we feel so comfortable in, all of these things that I've been doing for over 20 years that just feels so easy and comfortable for me to teach. It's like, no, now I need to teach this new thing. And I feel like my life started to fall apart and my health and everything, because I stopped listening to the call and I stopped taking the action and sharing the information that I was channeling. And so now I need to really do it, because I don't know if you saw my live yesterday, but I channeled something last week about things stopping flowing if I didn't start recording and sharing this information. And so, our septic system just was like, forget it. And so There was 2 feet, guys. 2 feet of stuff, of blockages. I want to say that, like, that might represent my internal, like limiting beliefs and blockages. And so clearing that out yesterday really felt good for me. And it was very symbolic. And so I felt like, if I don't do this, then what's going to happen next, right? If you don't listen to the whispers, the voices and the universe is going to start yelling at you, and they're going to start pushing things on you, and it's not going to be your choice anymore. And so now's the time to really take the opportunity to move forward and do those things that you're really scared to do. And because those things that you're scared to do are the things that you need to do the most. That's what I'm figuring out. That's what it is. Yeah. So I know that there's other people out there that are going through the same thing, because I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing the evidence of it everywhere, in social media, in real life, in my friends, in people I'm just meeting. Everyone is feeling this call to do something new. So I just want to really put it out there that you're not the only one that's going through this, and it is scary, but if we can all do this together, I think it's going to raise the vibration of our group and of our collective consciousness in synergy, and make us all stronger. And so I'm not just doing this for me today because I feel like I want to get on here and look at myself and talk and say all these words. It's because I really feel called to do this, to awaken other people and make sure that everyone out there is doing everything that they can to raise their own vibration, because we're all affecting each other. And the things that you do in your life and the work that you do on yourself really does affect the world. And so I just want to say, keep going and keep doing those things, and keep learning and keep pushing forward, and doing scary things. And as trailblazers, we're not doing things that are comfortable all the time, because then we're not affecting change. If it doesn't feel uncomfortable, you're not doing it right. Like, that's just how it is as a trailblazer. And if you made the agreement to come here and do this work like I have, to do this big work that does feel scary, and people might think you're crazy, but you feel so called to do it like I do, where it's been like seriously my life's priority over things that I probably should have cared more about. But I'm admitting that. I admit that to my children, like, I'm sorry that I wasn't with you more, and I paid more attention to, my career, and to, I don't know if I'd call it a career, but because it was personal healing too. But this call that I feel, that's so big, and I know that there's other ones out there that are feeling this really big call to do big things, and we need to do it, and we need to be brave. And so I don't know, that's what I needed to say. So I did it so that my septic system won't back up again, or my car won't fall apart, or so I can keep moving forward. Because in my life, that's how things work. If I don't do the thing, that's what happens. The whispers become yells, and then I end up hurting myself or something stupid like that. And I really want to roller skate this summer. So I'm just going to start getting on here and doing these lives and sharing this information and saying what I need to say every day, so that I can keep my energy flowing. So yeah, and I think other people need to do the same thing. So if you're feeling the call to step up and share some information today, do it. Because I just was on here randomly on Instagram earlier, and someone was saying something about doing, sharing your life in your stories, and talking about the things that are coming up in your stories, and being really authentic. And it really validated me and inspired me to come on here and kind of do the same thing. And so I'm really appreciative of everyone on here that gets on here and shares from their soul authentically, because it really inspires me, and I know that it's inspiring other people too. So just keep going, because we're all here for each other. So I love you, and I hope that you have a really beautiful day, and yeah, share that with people.